We're live, but
Perfect.
yeah,
Lee, we
I
need to
gotta
talk,
share
man.
out to the group and stuff too. So that little lagging effect here, and I gotta get all the links for the opt-in for the bot and shit too, and then set up the broadcast. So I'm gonna be doing some work while you guys talk. So let me share it out to the group. But we are live on the page now.
And I'll go share it on my deal too. Give me a second here.
Yep.
Yup.
Let's see.
I don't have it yet. It's not. Got a bunch of ClickFunnels guys up in here.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a ClickFunnels guy myself, so.
Right? Yeah, that's cool, man. ClickFunnels does a good job. So.
Saves me a lot of time. It breaks all the time. Instapage is way more reliable, but ClickFunnels is way better to build stuff in. Like to build real websites and build real funnels and all that. I can't go back to Instapage's platform anymore. I have to build in ClickFunnels.
Yeah,
It's so,
no
it's
doubt
so
about it. And I thought what Instapages is Lead Pages is pushing out the new drip platform. They're trying to get into the market. They're aggressively going after and predominantly Infusionsoft and ClickFunnels. But man, they put a red dot on Infusionsoft's head. Man, they are targeting them in a big way. So
there's a lot of people coming after Infusionsoft right now with the complexity and how difficult it is for them to set it up and trying to be the easy Infusionsoft. I won't even look at it at Infusionsoft because we don't need automations that advanced at this point. And I would go other places first, just from what I've heard about it. Like I tried to look at an Infusionsoft backend, and I'm like, I'm good. Like it's like using Salesforce. We're not enterprise level. I don't need that type of the in-depthness that Salesforce comes from. As far as
yeah, well, and again, ClickFunnels does a good job. Man, there's a couple things. There's a lot of different reasons why we decided to niche out in the Infusionsoft community. But the biggest one is their core purpose is they go after more traditional small businesses, and their target audience is more traditional small business based, and so that's who we wanted to target as an agency, and didn't want to get into the info space and that whole space. A lot of times that can be honestly, a lot of those people can be a pain in the ass to deal with, right? So it's the type of clients that you could get out of the community is what we predominantly went in the Infusionsoft direction for. And it was just from what we could tell, a kind of a higher level client, and we could build a little bit higher. So.
Yeah, I mean, Infusionsoft isn't cheap from what I understand, right? To use it properly, thinking Infusionsoft, they can probably afford you guys, right?
Yeah, definitely. Exactly. So, and I think ClickFunnels is what, $250, $300 a month or something. I think, is that right?
For the high level package is $297 that we've got.
$297. So that's comparable with Infusionsoft. But now, again, it doesn't have, they just now got a landing page builder in there, and it's freaking in beta, so it's not even rolled out all the way. So yeah, it doesn't have, you can go in there and like you said, kind of implement. You can ghost URLs and implement a website and landing pages and have basic automation in the back end of ClickFunnels about that. You can just do it. You can just roll it out faster. So, but now if you ever want to get to like when you get into the world class branding side, like when you get into higher level stuff, then it's not as flat. Infusionsoft is more flexible when it comes to that kind of stuff. You can get into much more advanced automation.
That's what I've heard. That's what I was saying. At the level we're at right now, it's kind of like Salesforce, best CRM I've been around, but we don't need half of what it says. I just realized we're live though, so I want to get a quick introduction. Balls, you want to do a quick introduction, man? Get us going, and then I'll start running over the questions. We're just gonna go back and forth. I feel like I could talk with Lee all day here, talk strategy.
Yeah. So for those of you who watched last week, the second video for the 9 Steps and 7-Figure series, today's topic is going to be agency leadership. And Lee, if you want to learn more about him, you can go back and watch last week's video. If you want to give yourself a brief intro, go ahead, Lee. But I think we should just jump right in because we're already 5 minutes in. We don't want to stay on.
Yeah, no, we're running our damn mouth up here like that. But hey, a lot of times this is the best when you get the best shit. When we're just kind of running our mouth, right? So, again, Lee Goff, and second part of a 9-part series. And again, thanks to you, Nick. The first time I met you tonight, and actually it's almost night here, and still I guess late afternoon over there. But in Balls, I just appreciate you too honoring me and letting me come on this here and kind of and share some of my knowledge and just a quick introduction, is again Lee Goff, and built and sold a big ass agency, and retired from it at 40. Literally worked about 2 hours a week and sold it at the age of 43. And so I now take that over 15 years experience of Well, starting a damn agency in my upstairs bedroom, like literally in my upstairs bedroom, looking out over the hills, right? And then all of a sudden, from there it went to 40 plus employees and $3 million plus, and lake houses and all the fun stuff, and that comes along with that kind of quality of life, right? So, and so that's basically what this series is about, is to kind of show you the framework that I did it, right? Because and the beauty of digital agencies is the fact that everybody can dream up however the fuck they want to do it, right? And so rock and roll, and I love it. But you got to have a framework. You got to kind of have bumper guards on how you want to build certain things out. And I have to admit, I kind of bucked the system a whole lot and was like, I can figure this out. I can do it more cutting edge, and I don't have to do it the way old school business did it. And truth be told is there's just a lot of old school stuff it ain't broke, man. It's just like, for example, the topic tonight, leadership. I mean, man, they've been fine tuning leadership for forever, basically, right? And so a lot of the stuff we're going to cover tonight about leadership is the ability to be able to get that kind of leadership framework in place. And Nick, you were talking about it. You're at that point right now where you got that. A lot of you out there, you have that 8 to 10, maybe 12, 15 employees, and man, it's hard to delegate and sleep at night knowing that if they screw up or they overcommit and over sell in the expectation levels during the sales process, and all of a sudden service can't back it up, and man, your nuts are in a vice, man. People getting bad reviews, and it gets ugly. Lawyers sometimes get involved, and it's just no fun. So how do you go about getting that leadership framework in place to where you can now take some of those trusted employees and let them flourish, right? I think everybody's heard the old saying, if you want to be successful, surround yourself with brilliant people, surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, right? And so, but at the same time, you can't just give them the keys and say, hey, good fucking luck. They have to have a framework to flourish. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about leadership and agency leadership, and how once you get this in place, I mean, it really is. It's the difference. It's the game changer, and it's the thing that'll take you to the next level. It's the thing that'll push you way past that 7-figure mark and kind of can rock it out. So.
Awesome. I love this. Like we were saying before, Lee, this is a huge point for me right now, really working in the business on it, growth, development. I personally haven't done nearly as good a job as I would like to work directly with, the people on the team here. I really want to make a big difference with that and start to improve that more. So I'm really looking to, learn from you here. And it's actually, it's right on point because I was listening to Grant Cardone this morning on the way in. And I had never really thought about this before, but he was talking about how leadership's the most important thing in business, because not only do you need to lead other people, you need to learn how to lead yourself, which is the number one thing, because you need to be able to lead yourself mentally and how you train yourself. And I never really thought about it like that. And I thought that was a really fascinating thing, because you lead yourself, then you can worry about working on leading other people. So really looking forward to dig in and see what you got here. So I'm going to give you back the floor, man, and see what we got.
Well, and the framework, by the way, is something that actually holds the owner more accountable than anything else. And there are a couple of exercises that we're going to go through that I'm going to explain to you now. There are 7 primary components that we're going to cover tonight, and that kind of make up a leadership framework. And 2 of them is what's called your planning and your rhythm. Okay. And in those, whenever you get in there and you do your planning and you establish that rhythm, as the owner, you're just going to piss you off because you're used to doing whatever the hell you want to do whenever you want to do it. And you can't do that anymore. As your agency grows up and it matures, you got to grow up with it. And at least from my perspective, I was like, I'm a bull in a china shop. I'm like, piss off. This is my agency. I'll do whatever the hell I want with it, right? But you can't do that because it throws the rhythm off for everybody. And your service department gets frustrated, and everybody gets frustrated. And so it actually holds the owner accountable more than it probably does anybody else. But it's interesting. So, and again, and like I said, there are and I love questions, so just everybody ask questions, and people are calling in here. That's good news. And so, and I'm sorry if you wanted, I'm keeping up over here on the phone. So just and Nick and Balls, if you got questions, kind of chime in. But the 7 primary components of agency leadership, okay, are going to be it's called your vision statement. A lot of people hear about your vision statement, but then what the hell is it? Okay, and in your vision, it's made up of 3 things. It's going to be what's called your purpose statement, your core values, and your mission statement. Okay. And then you actually have to get into living and breathing that every single day, right? So how the hell do you get everybody to buy into it? How do you get everybody else to believe your bullshit, right? That's called tribe alignment. And we're going to get into that tonight. I'll explain a little bit about that. And then another one is what's called visualization. And as a matter of fact, behind me here are some great examples of visualization. My mom is an artist. And so I wish I could show you the rest of the office. I got stuff all around the office here that as you get this vision in place, right, you gotta live it. You gotta breathe it, man. It's got to become like fat heads on the wall. It's got to become custom paintings on the wall. It's got to be, swag T-shirts and just, stress balls that people can throw around the damn offices and just stuff like that, right? And so you really, literally, you just got to live it and breathe it, and you got to own it. And it's got to become part of the daily routine and just the visualization of a brand and the purpose and the mission around the. I'm looking around my offices, as y'all can see it, but it can actually start to really get into the psyche and can start to really penetrate that what's called long-term memory, and they buy into that ownership, and it's absolutely critical to get that buy-in. And then there are two other pieces that I kind of added to for tonight specifically. And again, that's going to be what's called your planning, okay, your strategic planning process. And this is where you can actually start to kind of become a little more hands off. You can kind of, once you put that plan in place, you give that plan to the second tier leaders in your organization, and then they go execute that plan and they bring it back. And I have one of my favorite quotes is by General Eisenhower for World War II. And he says, if you want to, kind of really be a true leader and see the power of what other individuals can do, you don't give them a directive and say, okay, I want you to go from point A to point B, and then give them a micro management checklist. To get to point B is you got to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You have to do it just like this to get to B. No, what you do is you say, I want to go from point A to point B, and I want you to impress me and wow me with how you get to point B. And then all of a sudden they're like, damn, dude, I cannot fail. I can't let this guy down. I got to rock this out, man. And they throw down on it. They bring it to a whole new level. They just impress the shit out. They bring it because they just bring it to a level that you can't even fathom. Right. So, like I said, we're going to go through all this tonight. And so I'm going to get started with what's called your vision statement. And this is the backbone of it. And again, a lot of people. What's that?
I want to jump in really quick before you get into vision statement, because sure. I just wanted to let you know two things. One, guys, if you guys went back and watched Dimitri a couple weeks ago, who runs very, very successful agencies, what was the number one thing that he said? Vision statement. So we got to listen to this stuff. And I'm also talking to myself as well. This is things that I'm all very, very familiar with. We don't currently have. We do have paintings around the wall. For example, that's a painting that represents burning the fucking boats. So you can take the island, and we've got little things.
Yeah, baby. Yeah.
So we're big on that. I just really wanted to jump in real quick and say vision statement's important. It's a sign. This is the second time I've heard it on one of our lives here from someone who's tremendously successful and who I would love to model. And then I also read it in a book called Delivering Happiness, a great book also. So listen up, guys. This is good. I'm excited. Go ahead.
No, and I'm telling you, I fought it for a long time. Vision statement, that's old school. I'm cutting edge. I don't need to do this shit. I can figure it out like that. And the truth is the variation of the vision statement that I'm about to show you guys tonight actually is cutting edge about how you go about doing it. And so there is the very kind of a cutting edge spin on how we did it in my first agency. And so, and again, the first question is, I'm assuming probably everybody's like, why is this shit important to me? Basically kind of follow up with, with what you were saying, right, Nick? Why is this so important to me? And I'll just can answer that like this, basically what it does is it creates like a group leadership mentality. Okay. So everyone is a part of the future of the agency. And that's critical. You have to get group buy-in. That's what's called group buy-in. And now when everybody buys into the vision, now they are inspired and they are motivated and they take on ownership of that vision because they were part of creating that vision. So that's a huge deal. It helps you keep employees a lot longer. And everybody, if you've ever built a company past, your friends and family network, finding great employees that stick around, that are loyal, okay, a nightmare, man. It's hard, man. People that aren't going to rip you off or take their clients, whenever they leave and things like that. It's just hard. And again, it just fosters loyalty. It embraces leaders. Okay. It gives them the framework to flourish. And it provides accountability for the owners and leadership. And so I could go on for days. It allows you to delegate with confidence, knowing that they're going to bring back kick-ass results. And just, I guess at the end of the day, the best way to sum it up, is the foundation. Okay, literally the foundation for your agency to blow the hell up. Without a proven leadership framework for the brilliant people or the extremely driven people around you to flourish, you'll always basically have everything tethered to you, the owner. And you simply, I don't care how good and how smart and how hard you work, you can't do everything. You have to let go. I don't know if either one of you guys are parents, but it's like raising a child. It literally is like raising a child. As much as you would love to shelter them and kind of keep them in the house all the time, you can't. You got to kick them out, kick their little asses out in the real world at some point in time, right? So it's the exact same thing with your company. Is you have to prepare it, and you have to prepare the leaders to be able to get out there and thrive on their own up under a framework that you created. Okay. And so that's what this is. That's what this does. It allows you to kind of untether yourself as the owner. And so, like, without beating a dead horse here, I'm going to dive off into what the three components are that make up a vision statement. And again, I'm going to just scratch the surface on this. We do, by the way, I think Balls, if he hadn't already posted it in the chat right there, we have a free course on this. It's a free we did what's called a mini. Are you guys familiar with a micro course?
Yeah, I didn't post it yet. It's going to be we'll discuss that later. I'll show that how to get it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that'll work. So, if you want a little more details on it like that, that'll be out there in a little bit. And so, again, it's made up of three primary components. The first one is going to be your purpose statement. The second one is going to be your core values, and the third one is going to be your mission statement. So basically, let me kind of explain what these three things mean. Okay, your purpose statement, that's kind of like the soul, man. It's like the North Star. Okay, it's always guiding you towards your goal or in a direction. But it's not something you can ever touch, or it's not something that's ever actually achievable. That makes sense? It's an inspirational thing. It's something that whenever people hear it, they're like, man, that's freaking badass. And we want to constantly drive towards that, right? And then your core values, that's more like kind of like your moral compass. That's kind of like basically, treat people with respect. We respect small business owners. They're integrity based. They're timeless, right? And same thing with your purpose statement. They're timeless. Once you get the purpose statement in place and the core values in place, that soul and that moral compass should be the filter and the guidance that guides your agency through the good and the bad and the pretty and the nasty and whatever the hell happens. It should be guiding everything. And then you have rules that if you ever make a decision that breaks any of our core values or doesn't help us achieve our mission or propels us towards our purpose, then you can't validate that decision to leadership. And so that's that framework. So that's how it actually physically manifests itself, is every day in the office, every decision made by every single employee, including leadership and ownership, okay, has to filter it through that. And so then you have what's called a leadership team in place. And whenever you make these decisions, you have to validate those decisions under that framework to the other leaders. So you have to have a legitimate, logical reason on why you did what you did, and it has to fall within a certain bumpers, that framework of core values and purpose and mission statement. And if you can't validate that, then they can throw your ass under the bus. And you can rest assured that if you break one of your core values and try to take after that quick buck, or take on that client you didn't want in the first place because they're douchebags or whatever it is, it's going to come back to bite you, man. It's going to come back to cost you a lot of money. And so those two kind of act as, like I said, the moral compass and the soul. And I'm going to get into more detail. I have a little checklist and stuff on around all that, so I'm going to get into a little more detail on all of it here in a second. And then your mission is kind of like your Mount Everest. It's like your plant the flag moment, right? It's like, we're going to conquer this freaking hill today. You know what I mean? Like, what are we going to do in the next 3 years? And so, Nick, so for a good example for you is we've got 8 employees. Our mission statement is to serve, 300 concurrent Facebook ad companies at a time, hit $2.4 million in revenue, and have 20 employees or whatever. That's a hype that actually would not be a good mission statement, but that would, that's kind of a hypothetical, but that gives you a target. That gives you like a red dot or a plant the flag moment that inspires people to do things. And there's a term called BHAG. Big, hairy, audacious goal. And so we're going to get into that tonight as well. And so let's kind of get started on those first 3 things, and we'll kind of go through the purpose statement, and then we'll go through the core values, and then we'll go through the mission statement. And then once we kind of get kind of a framework on how to get those created, Then I'm going to explain to you how you could get the entire agency to buy into it, and then how you get them to live based upon that framework on a daily basis going forward. Okay, so let's start with the purpose statement. And again, I was kind of alluding to it earlier. It's very much the soul. It's the North Star. It can never really. What's that?
Go ahead, man. No.
Go ahead.
It can never really be achieved. It's something that's kind of out in the distance. It guides you. Again, everybody can. The example of the North Star is probably the best example. Is you can see it. If you're going that direction, you're going north. It's going to guide you. It's going to always steer you in the right direction. But you're never ever going to reach out and actually touch it and actually ever get to the North Star, right? And so we have a little handy dandy checklist that we provide right here. And so I'm going to go through this. And so when you're developing your checklist, and if you guys are out there listening, go ahead and get something to write down with it, because this is kind of your checklist when you're putting together a purpose statement. Okay, it needs to be stated in about 3 to 7 words. You shouldn't get a whole lot more than 7 words. And I'm telling you, when you go down to the practice of actually trying to get this in place, this exercise becomes pretty damn hard. Okay, because brevity is best, but how do you convey the essence and the soul of your agency in 3 to 7 words? It's actually not as easy as it's not that easy. It's kind of difficult, and again, it's got to be an extremely simple language. So a good example, my first agency's purpose statement was to help small businesses succeed. That's why they're in business. So that's what you have to ask yourself. Why are you in business? That's ultimately what the purpose statement is answering. Why are you there? Why are you doing what you're doing? And a lot of people are going to say, well, I want to make some damn money. Well, then obviously that's like a duh, but no successful agency or no successful company is ever going to make it you can make a little bit of money, doing it just if you're 100% profit driven. But the great companies, the great agencies always have a higher purpose. They serve a higher purpose. Their purpose and their why behind it is, and Nick and you and I could see it in your eyes earlier. You and I were talking about this, but man, whenever you turn on that Facebook ad campaign and man, you see those leads starting to flop in there and you just changed, that you literally just changed a small business owner's lives.
Absolutely. Best feeling in the world, man.
Dude, your eyes lit up like a kid in a candy store. You know what I'm saying? And so changing small business owners' lives. You know what I'm saying? Or something, something that's just a higher purpose, and it's inspirational, man. It comes from the heart, if that makes any sense. Not to get all sappy or anything like that, but it really comes from the heart. It's not about money. It can never really be about money. Okay. And I'm kind of bouncing around here like that, but hopefully you guys are writing this down. It's big and it's bold. I mean, it's like, damn, to help small businesses succeed. That's big and that's bold, right? I mean, when I first started my agency, my purpose was to bring integrity and ethics to the entire industry. Now I can't sit here and take credit for changing the entire industry, but I do know that I unquestionably changed the specific ecosystem that I was in. Unquestionably. We service more clients. We are by far the biggest agency in that space. I mean, by far. Okay. And they are the pack leader. Whatever they do, if they do it, you can bank on the fact 30 days later, you're going to start seeing it all over the damn place. They set the tone for that space. And so it was I got ripped off, and it pissed me off so much that I was like, we got to bring a level of ethics and integrity to this. And so that's what started. And then the purpose actually changed over time, because as we got bigger, it had to be a little more inspirational. So let me kind of backtrack and go through that checklist again. So it's got to be stated in 3 to 7 words. It's got to be very simple language. It's got to be big, and it's got to be bold. Almost kind of like an aha moment kind of thing, right? It's got to come from the heart. It's got to be inspirational. It's got to define your why. Like, why are you there? Okay. It has to involve everyone. Okay. It can't be about money, man. Like, I know a lot of us out there, and a lot of people are going to say, look, man, I'm all about the dollars, babe. All about it. And don't get me wrong. Hey, who doesn't like making money, right? But if you want to inspire people to follow you and be in work, they work them 60-hour weeks, so you don't have to. And, they're doing the leg work. They're doing the hard work for you. Again, I got down to 2 hours, man. I was working 2 hours a week. And that 2 hours a week is Thursday mornings from 9 to 11. I came in, okay, and this is what I did right here. It's called a KPI right here. It's a big, thick book that was produced every single week just for me, okay? And it's literally, 20 pages of KPIs. And so I would come in and I would monitor the performance of my agency based upon those KPIs. And it took us about 2 hours to discuss any, things that would pop up and spike down, or, any kind of hurdles or problems or legal or financial or issues, like that. But that's all I did. And that's how you do it. This is how you do it. You got to inspire them to work for a bigger purpose, higher purpose. And it's got to be a bigger than just a goal kind of thing. Right.
Yeah. Lee, let me jump in there real quick, because I was actually just reflecting on this. The why and having it be about more than money is so fucking true. We've got a mixture of people who watch this audience, but there's a lot of them I would say are just getting started, just getting rolling out, and really looking to turn that corner. And I've reflected a lot over the last year, because a year ago we were doing under $10,000 a month, and now we're doing over 150 regularly. So it's been a giant explosion. But the previous 8 months or 9 months before that no one saw was getting beat to the ground. And the only reason that kept me going was the why. It was fucking hard. Like, I got shut down. We were getting deep into debt. We didn't know what direction we wanted to go. I was trying to sell SEO, trying to sell website design. Fortunately, my business partner had belief in me, and he had a job and, was able to, continue, working on that. But your why's got to be so important, because, did I want some money? Sure. But for me, it was so much deeper. It was more, for me, it was about family. I came from a divorced home, and there's always, arguments about money everywhere. So that's really what I figured out has made me tick. And I've reflected on a lot, because the average human wouldn't do and put themselves through the mental anguish and fucking stress you have to deal with. Like, people think that, I'll be so happy when I'm making 100K a month or 150. It brings in a whole another fucking set of stress and problems. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my God, it gets worse, man. It gets worse. Are you fucking kidding me like that? And by the way, money is not scalable. In other words, if just because you're bringing in 150K, like, I promise you, Nick is probably doing better than he was at 10K. But it's not like he's every month putting 25 grand in his pocket. I promise you that, okay? Because the tax liability goes up. Everything changes, man. Everything changes. The whole game changes.
Employees for lives. Like, I am responsible for other people's lives now. I need to make sure that they can pay for their family on the table.
Amen. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but we actually had a saying at my first agency, and so we would never talk about, like, it wasn't about employees, it wasn't about anything like that. It was actually mouths to feed. How many mouths do we have to feed? And basically every month, okay, our payroll is about $200,000. Okay, that was our payroll. That was just like our fucking nut, man. That was like taxes, that was our, not including overhead. I'm talking about just straight up labor, man. And you're like, damn, dude, what the hell, And so that basically equated to about 150 mouths to feed every 2 weeks, basically, right? And man, and that's the way we always looked at it, is it's not about just employees. It's not about that, but they really are like family, right? And so, and you brought that up a while ago, and actually you can't see it up here, but it says family time and success and mentor and quality. And so here's what happens when you don't get this kind of stuff in place. You work your fingers to the bone, you overstress out. And I had a heart attack at the age of 43. Like, you ever heard of the Widowmaker? Okay, the Widowmaker is like the largest artery on the whatever. I'm not gonna, I ain't a freaking doctor. I can't get, it's the biggest artery on your heart, right? I had 100% blockage in that. They basically, long story short, is about 55 to 60% of the people who have a heart attack with the Widowmaker, they never get off the ground.
Wow.
Stress induced.
Wow.
Because I overworked myself. I put way too much stress on myself, and it's no bueno. And so now with my new company, my purpose, and I am on a mission to serve it, and that is to improve the quality of life for other agency owners. And I do that. I want them to work less and make more. And when I say make more, I don't mean just money. I mean more time for their babies and their friends and all of that other stuff. And that's what I'm here to do. That's why I have spent all the money that I have spent developing out what's called an agency playbook. And definitely not playbook, agency blueprint. Okay. That kind of outlines everything I learned over the 15 years and puts it into a kick-ass little, program. Right. But that's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm here. I don't really have to have the money. I mean, I could literally sit on my ass for the next while, 10 years, probably, and not do shit, literally just I live on the lake and go play on my damn boat all day. Right. But that's why I'm doing this, is because I don't want anybody else. I went through a divorce, and just because of I put so much time into building that agency, and I don't want people out there to make that same mistake. I want them to have easier, because when I started my agency, there was nobody out there that had built a successful agency, because the entire industry was just getting started. This is 14 years ago, right? So So literally the whole damn industry was just getting started around that time, like a couple of years before when the whole damn thing got started. And so now, now that some people, and I was lucky enough to come out on top in a lot of it, but now there's some guys like me that can actually hopefully get out there and share that knowledge. And that's what this is for. And I really hope a lot of people in the audience, kind of take us up on this and can hear some of these stories and move it forward. So, because that's ultimately what it's all about, right? So
strong fucking why it's hard and it doesn't get easier. That's for damn sure. There's a lot of stuff
about it. And I'm telling you, if it's about money, you'll figure out a way to quit. I'm telling you, you'll figure out a way. You will find an excuse to quit. It's always easier to go back to the corporate world, buddy. It's always easier to cash checks. Always, especially when they come with benefits and your wife is bitching every night. Okay, I mean, just no doubt about it. So it's always easier. Okay, so all right, so that's basically your purpose. Okay, that's your purpose. Okay, so that's your why. That's the soul. That's the guiding. I'm getting all into it now. That's the soul. That's that's why you're doing what you're doing. Then you have to have kind of like a moral compass. This is again, I have a little girl, and so I try to train her. And we even have family core values. That's kind of how geeky I am about business. I mean, that's kind of a little geeky there, but I guess, but so we have quick like family core values. So for example, do good, get good, do bad, get bad. This is one of them life lessons that if you don't know that, you got a problem. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a fundamental, right? So, always respect other people, don't disrespect elders, some of the basic fundamental moral compass things you gotta instill, right? And so that's what this is your core values make that up. And so as your employees are making these decisions, early on in your agency, basically everybody is afraid to make those decisions, not because out of fear, like you're going to come down on them and get pissed off at them, but because they don't want to let you down. They don't want to hurt the agency. They're there for a reason. They love it, almost guaranteed, right? So they're afraid to make those decisions. So how do you empower them to feel confident in making those decisions? Well, you get the core values in place. And so I have a little checklist here that I'm going to go through. Okay. And we'll and like I said, we'll go through this. And so if you guys got your pen, whatever you got out, notepads, whatever you got out there, kind of write this down. It's best to try to keep these, try to have 5, maybe 7 core values. You don't want to get all freaky nuts and have like 52 of them. Okay. Because I mean, these things are at the essence, what, this is who your agency is, and you can't be defined by too many things. Integrity, respect, excellence. These are type of core value words that you can expect to hear, hopefully, out of your agency. And it's always good to kind of build out like an acronym. And this is going to sound funny, but I was actually coaching an agency the other day, and their acronym was PRICE. And obviously I coached never to sell on price, and that was not really that funny. But for my first agency like that, an acronym was actually ERECT, like for real, right? So like ERECT, like how the fuck did whatever? But anyway, but it's seriously the acronym was ERECT. And why is that so important? Because what happens is as a CEO, you're walking around and you catch them off the spot. Hey man, what are the core values? You'll ask them, right? And the first thing they'll do is they'll pop in there ERECT. E stands for empowering small business. R stands for respect the small business owner. And these are for real. This is what they are. I still remember most of them to this day, and it's been years since I've been involved in it. But and so that's how you can help people to kind of remember things. You put in an acronym to it. So you give it one word, and then you put a dash, and then give it maybe 5, 6. Like a short sentence that explains that one word, and then you align those words into an acronym, and now you have core values. Make sense? And so it is not as easy as you think it is. And so what you can do is you need to bust out that thesaurus. Okay. You need to get everybody in a room, and you need to go through this exercise. And I'll explain how we go through this exercise, in the tribe alignment part. The actual process of how you go about coming to all this stuff is just as important as actually what you come up with. Because the reality is everybody has to believe in it. You can't just, and I tried. I mean, I'd read the books too. And so I did a vision statement, and I put them on fucking posters and put them up on the wall, and everybody's like, what's that? Well, that shit doesn't work, man. I mean, we're millennials, and everybody's got to, people ain't just cashing checks anymore. They want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, right? And so that's how you got to get it in. You do that with tribe alignment. It's freaking awesome. So, all right. So core values checklist, right? So again, less than 5. Try to be around 5 values, 6, 7, maybe if you can. each value is typically no longer than 7 words. Again, you got to keep it kind of brev. That's a fundamental rule here. Brevity is always best. The dumber you can make it, the more simple you can make it, the better, the more effective it will be. Okay. Um, uh, you can't let your ego and stuff get involved in this. You have to kind of leave your ego and humble yourself. And you don't choose values that make your company look good or make you look good. Okay. These are intended to hold you accountable. Okay. So, don't try to pick words like, I don't know, you're like powerful, or, does that make sense? I mean, no, motherfucker, you're not powerful until you deliver. Okay. That's just, it is what it is. I mean, don't pick words like that. These are more, again, like integrity, respect, excellence, and honor, and things like that, right? So the core values, they should hold true. I mean, once you get these things in place, they honestly should hardly ever change. Maybe once every 100 years, which means you ain't gonna be around. So I mean, so these things are, once you get them in place, they should pretty much be in stone. So the values are meaningful, okay, within the company walls. In other words, they mean more inside than they do externally. Not to say you don't put them on your website, because it does help to build value in your pricing. It's based when it comes to positioning. Okay. This is one of the unsung heroes, right? If you have a clearly defined vision statement and you can reflect that on your website, people see that your agency's at a certain level of maturity, but 2, you know exactly who you are and you're going to live up to these core values. And that actually helps to build value in your pricing, in your pricing model. Okay. When it comes to positioning. So, but again, they're intended more for within the company walls than they are anything else. So, and these values are consistent with who you are. What's that?
No,
Go ahead.
Sorry. These values are consistent with who you are as a business. Okay, and again, don't leave your freaking ego at the door, man. This is not about your ego. It's not about trying to make you look good. This is about holding you, the owner, and holding everybody else accountable. Okay. The values have nothing to do with profit or revenue. These can't have anything to do with money at all. If they're actually about money, they actually become a detriment, because over time people see that, oh, I mean, all this dude's about is money, and they start to lose focus. They start to lose interest. They're not inspired by it at all. So. And you have to be comfortable with plastering these values all over the damn wall as a constant reminder of who you are as an agency, or who you are as a business. And these values also a lot of times define who you are as a man or a woman too, as a leader. So, and so it's very, very important. Okay, so that is kind of covers a lot of the core values there. Okay, any questions from you two or anybody in the audience or anything? So, okay.
All right, I love it. We got to do this. Keep going. Sorry, I got some stuff.
No. Yeah. Now hit me up, man. I got a big check. I got a big workbook. Yeah, hit me up on this, man. I can hook you up on some good resources we got. So, and I tell you what, to that point, one of the best resources out there is called Jim Collins. Okay, so here, hold on a second. I'll be right. Let me get the book.
Good to Great. Good to Great. I think he's got another book as well. Good to Great's definitely a slow read, but it's a fantastic book.
Yeah, everybody guesses Good to Great. And by the way, that's freaking awesome. You got to read that book. But it's actually not. It's not Good to Great. It's actually Beyond Entrepreneurship. Okay.
I've never heard that one. I know he's got another second one to Good to Great, but I've never heard Beyond Entrepreneurship.
Beyond Entrepreneurship, specifically chapter 2. Okay, and this gives you a very detailed framework. Okay, about how to go about doing this. It's not really custom to the agency side of things. It's more just kind of general business kind of thing, right? But it's really good. And then, so what we did is we took that framework and then we patterned it after a lot of how Infusionsoft did it, because the culture around the Infusionsoft corporate headquarters is freaking awesome. It's just like, it's very it's super cool, right? So we took a lot of the how they did it at Infusionsoft. We applied it to this framework, and then we made our own unique vision, a purpose and core values for my first agency, right? So, and then after you kind of got the inspirational and the why and the kind of like I said, the soul and the moral compass, the things you can't really physically touch, after that you got to get into something you can physically touch. I mean, you got to have a goal. We all, I mean, come on, hey, I want to make $1 million by the time I'm 30, or I want to be a professional football player by the time I'm 40, or whatever whatever it is. We have to set goals to be able to get there, right? So that's what's called your mission statement. And it's called BHAG, okay? Big, hairy, audacious goal. All right. And so this thing is, if you want to see people run through a brick wall to accomplish things that you never thought could be ever be possible, you get the mission statement right, and people will be working to midnight to get this shit done, because they will be like, man, deadline's July 31st, second quarter's wrapping up, dude. I got to get this shit done. They're throwing down, man. They're working their asses off, because it's all a sense of pride. It's just a sense of pride. And so the checklist for a BHAG is, at first glance, it's almost impossible to achieve. You're like, dude, is this dude lost his fucking mind? I mean, like, is he serious? You know what I'm talking about? I mean, like, how do you expect us to do this? You know what I'm talking about? And it should almost be like, to a certain degree, like, people gab. Did he really just say make it to $2 million in the next 12 months? And the reason that is because, hey man, if you aim for Mars and you hit the fucking moon, you still hit the moon.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, aim for the stars, go long, okay? And even if you don't make it all the way there, okay, you still made it probably twice as far as you probably thought that you could have, just because of the drive and the passion behind that thing. So it is typically meant, some people kind of, as a matter of fact, I think even Jim Collins changed this, but in the book, I think he said it's supposed to be around 10 to 12 years, or maybe even a little bit longer. Now, man, it's better to keep it around 3 to 5 years, because everything moves so fast nowadays. I mean, so for example, let's say you want to, Nick, you want to get your agency to where you're doing $250,000 a month, in revenue. And I do want to, I want to kind of caution against around making it profit based or revenue based. That again has a tendency to kind of start to demotivate people over time. And that's actually one of the things in the checklist here. Like that, it's better to make it around kind of an inspirational thing. Like, in other words, we want to change the lives. So you can, let's say your total customer lifecycle value is, $3,000 a month per client, whatever hypothetical that is, right? And and that, when you do the math on that, that's 100 clients a month at $300,000 a month in revenue, or whatever that is. So we want to change, on average, 100 people's lives every single month. You see what I'm saying? So now it's not about money.
That's my exact goal in the next 6 months, because our average guy is $3,000, and we do it.
No, and it is. That's I mean, I'm luckily pulling these numbers. I've never worked with any of these guys, so I don't know. So, but
close.
What's that?
I said that's literally very, very close. Our average guy is 4,800 right now, but we have a couple big guys doing that. But we really like the $3,000 a month clients who are just either easier. It's the big guys are also good. Don't get me wrong, we love them, but based on how we set things up, the $3,000 guys that we want. Anyways, that's just amazing, because that's
you got your process nailed down, right? So you just, it's autopilot. You turn those $3,000 guys on, it's like bam, 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 clockwork, right? It's like an ATM machine, right? And everybody wins. So, all right, it's exciting, man. And your BHAG's your mission statement's got to be exciting, and it's got to inspire you and your employees. Man, like, damn, I can't believe you just said that. And then after the shock of it, like we're about to hit this damn thing in the mouth, man. I'm gonna roll up my sleeves, put on some boots. We're gonna get this done, right? So it's got to inspire you to run through some brick walls and accomplish things you never knew that could be accomplished. It's got to be very clear, and it's got to be quantitative. You've got to be able to measure this. Okay, so no matter what it is, there has got to be a mathematical formula of some sorts that can quantify the results. Because again, this is a milestone. This is a goal. This is an achievable thing. So again, if you go out there and you do the math, and it does average out to be $2,992 a month on average per client or whatever, or we want to get it around whatever the hell it is, whatever it is, but just make sure it's mathematically you can quantify it, so therefore everybody can see it going. Because over the 3 to 5 years, you'll need to have milestones. So let's say it's a 3-year BHAG, and it's to get whatever it is. After the first year, we have to do this. Second year, we have to do this. Third year, we have to do this. So they can see every year that they're getting closer to the BHAG, and they can see that success, because success begets success, right? So they have to be able to see that success in real world. And if you can break it down even quarterly, if this year we have to do this much, this quarter we have to do this quarter we have to do this. And so now they have a goal every month, every quarter to hit. So end of the month goals are like, damn, dude, we're behind or we're ahead. We gotta move, man. We gotta figure something out. It's gonna get people coming up with creative solutions like you never thought of. Like, dude, I don't know how we're gonna do this, but we're gonna sit in this fucking room until we figure it out. That I know. Okay, that I know. And that's what they do. That's what you'll do, because you got to hit the goals, right? And it's something that'll inspire you to do. It's pretty cool. So, the reality is, there's only about a 50 to 70% chance you'll actually reach the BHAG. But that's the point. That's the point. The whole point is to push you further than you ever thought you could go. How do you achieve excellence? You don't do it by eating potato chips on the couch. Okay? You push your body farther than you ever thought that you possibly could. You're in that gym an additional 2 hours a day because you will not take no for an answer. And your agency has to have that kind of mentality. We will not fail. We will not take no for an answer today or tomorrow. Period. Exclamation point. Okay. And it empowers, this is actually the next one. It empowers your employees to have that kind of die on the hill mentality, kind of like just what I was saying right there. Right. So, and you're able to actually visualize this mission statement. So what happens is you'll, and one of the more popular ones is like, like hiking a mountain or a Mars to mission. I think right before I left, they were reinventing the mission statement to where it's going to be like the main mission, like MAINE, Maine, like the state Maine. And the reason being is my first agency's corporate headquarters is right at the base of the Appalachian Mountains where the Appalachian Trail starts. And so they set milestones for different base camps on the Appalachian Trail until they got to Maine. It's called the main mission. So they visualized it. So they actually did a graphic where, okay, after the year 2017, we got to be at this base camp. At the end of 2018, we got to be at this base camp. At the end of 2019, we got to be at this base camp. And if we hit these base camps, then we'll be in Maine in 2020 or whatever it is, right? So you have to be able to visualize that. So you physically come up with a graphic that visualizes all the milestones. And so now people see it. It's on the wall. And we actually had a mural painted, like it literally was like a 10 foot by 10 foot mural. And so every time somebody's walking around through the office, they look up and they see the main mission, and it reminds them every single day what they're working, what the goal is, what they're trying to do. And they know that day they have to get 8 hours of billable time or whatever it is. Does that make sense to me? And if they do every single day, if they hit this one metric, then they're going to be able to hit, if they do that every single day for the next 3 years, then boom, there it is. Quantifiable and achievable every single day, every single month, every single week, every single quarter, every single year. And what appear to be small and consequential steps on a daily basis add up to one big long marathon over time. And that's what you're here to do, is to win the marathon. So, okay. Everybody got quiet.
I love it, man. I'm taking notes. Awesome.
All right.
I love visualization is key, man. You got to know where you're going.
Yeah. No, as a matter of fact, I'm about to get into the visualization right here, and I've been kind of alluding to it, about the importance of visualization. And so right before I get into the visualization part of it, I want to get into what's called the tribe alignment. Again, everything that I just said is for naught unless you get everybody to buy in. Okay. And so what I like to call is, a lot of big companies kind of have what I like to call like an ivory tower down kind of leadership style. Well, let me just go ahead and enlighten you, especially in the agency space. That's dead. It does not work. You cannot sit in an ivory tower and dictate orders like you could, even 10 years ago. Does that make sense? Because it's just not how it works anymore. So you just got to be more of a grassroots thing. So here's what happens. Is, the leadership team, okay, or you and your partner, Nick, I'll use you and your partner as an example. You guys, sitting in a room and you spend, 3 or 4 or 5 hours pounding out kind of a V1, a version 1 of your purpose, your mission, and your core values. Okay. And then you take those and you bring them to the entire company. So let me tell you a quick story. Now, again, keeping in context, I had about 40 employees, and, payroll is about about $200,000 a month. Okay. So to shut the company down for an entire day when they're knowing there's 20 to 22 billable days, billable days in a month. Okay. Which is another little thing you got to figure out, you only got 30 days, buddy. You got 21. Okay. On average, it's about 21.2 on average a month. Okay. And so you have to make up 30 days worth of payroll and taxes in 21 days. So with that being said, we made the decision to shut the entire company down for 2 days. Actually, it ended up being 2.5 days. So whenever you look at actual labor cost at the door and you put in the lost revenue, which is like the actual big number, I can't remember the exact number, but it probably cost well over, I don't know, $60,000, $70,000, $80,000, okay, for us to shut the company down. But what happened is this, is we get in there and we bring them, we got a big whiteboard, and I'm pointing as if it's in here, but you got a big whiteboard, and you put up the purpose statement that you came up with, you put up the mission statement, and you put up the core values, and say, okay, this is the kickoff point. These things really mean nothing without you. No one in this room is going to sit here and not have input in this, because by the end of the day, we are all going to 100% agree on our purpose statement. We're all going to 100% agree on our mission statement. And we're all going to 100% agree on every single one of those core values. We're not going to leave this room until that happens. And if we have to schedule another day, then we will. And if we have to schedule a third day, then we will. So here's what happens, is you're going to get into a point of conflict. Hopefully, if you've got strong people, they're going to start to argue about syntax. They're going to start arguing about a fucking word. You literally, and I mean literally, spend a fucking hour with 40 people arguing about one word. And that's the point. That's perfect. That's exactly what you hope happens. Because then everybody is bought in. Everybody owns that word. Everybody owns that core values. So when they leave that room that day or that after a couple of days, that is no longer Nick's vision statement. That is their vision statement. They own that statement. They put their stamp of approval on it. They changed 3 words that actually stuck, and they're now plastered on the damn wall. They own it. So it's called tribe alignment. It's called group leadership. Everybody in the company has equal say, from intern to CEO founder. If the intern says, I don't agree with this is ridiculous, okay, then you stop, you pull back and say, well, let's talk about it. Let's figure it out. Let's just hash this shit out. I mean, you got a good point there, right? And you don't discredit them, even though if it sounds like the biggest, stupidest fucking idea you ever heard in your life. You let the room around them just ask questions. What'll happen is they'll ask a stupid question. 2 or 3 of their peers will be like, dude, that's a stupid fucking question. Okay, I see what you're saying. That was a stupid question. But then out of those stupid questions, you'll get a couple good questions, and it'll make everybody think, right? And they're all bantering, and they're all going back and forth. The next thing you know is everybody's coming to terms. Everybody's agreeing on all of this, and they all 100% own it. And it's theirs now. It's no longer yours. It's no longer an ivory tower printing out some posters and putting them on the wall. It's theirs, and they want to get it tattooed on their ass and walk around the world with it. Not literally, but you know what I'm talking about. So, all right. So once we did that, and I'm telling you, it cost a bloody little fortune. I don't even know how much. I mean, it cost a lot of money to do that. We had planned. We didn't plan on taking more than one day. We thought it'd take one day, but again, it took 2. Well, I think I can't remember the exact 2.5 days or whatever it was. And so we actually had time to plan the visualization of how are we going to physically manifest all of this stuff that we just paid all this money for, right? So what we did is, we basically went on a big shopping spree and hired a whole lot of labor. We did it on a Friday, and we told everybody, you know what, we're wore out, and everybody leave. We told everybody went home at about 2:30, 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. They didn't know that we were doing this. All the leadership team, their families and spouses, and probably 5 or 6 laborers, we remodeled the entire office. We threw out all the furniture, brought in all new desks, branded seats, painted all the walls. We had ordered Fathead. You know what Fatheads are? You know what a Fathead is? Okay, so it's like a big tattoo thing that goes on the wall, right? And so when they walked in Monday morning, they couldn't walk in through the normal door. We made them walk in through a side door, and then each member they would have to stand there until a member of the leadership team would give them a tour of their new offices that they created with their vision statement. We would tour them through the new offices and say, hey, what do you think? This is your new this, your this, your this. And here's your new shiny desk. And here's all this. And they're like, holy shit, this is fucking awesome. These guys are legit. This is for real now. This is physically manifested itself before my eyes here. I mean, we bought, I don't know, man, 15 or 20 of those 4x8 whiteboards. The whole walls were whiteboards. And I mean, it was just, the whole thing is just like a massive think tank, and it was freaking awesome. And it's just super, it gets toured all the time. People come from all over the place to tour the damn thing. It's freaking awesome. And so we physically manifested it throughout the entire office. Yeah, here, actually, I got some photos there. I don't know if you can see them or not, but can you see that right there? See the fat heads on the wall?
Empower.
Yeah, and the blue chairs and the funky lights and all that stuff, and then that's what one of excellence. We take pride and ownership and all that stuff like that. And so and so it's all over the damn, all over the damn thing, right? And we started a quarterly T-shirt contest, and so every single department, the marketing department in one quarter, the sales department, and the service department, and I think the leadership team or whatever, I can't remember what, or office or administrative or whatever it was. Every quarter they'd have a T-shirt contest, and so that department came up with whatever they wanted it to be, and at the end of the year, we'd all vote on who won the best T-shirt. Who did the best T-shirt that year, right? And then, of course, I don't remember what it was. I think the entire department would get something. I don't remember. They'd win something like that. So now they're all creating. And they're buying into creating visualization stuff for the office. So it's all part of a culture. You're building a culture. And keep in mind, this culture, okay, has won Entrepreneur Magazine's top company culture in small business for 2 years. So this ain't no fucking bullshit. This is for real. Top producer, I can't remember what I think they picked 25 of them across the world, okay, and I think they were, 13th or 12th or something in the world, in a little podunk town, like right up the road right here, in a big log cabin in wine country, in the middle of nowhere, like literally in the middle of nowhere. It's like woods, dude. It's like straight up woods everywhere, like everywhere. And who would have thought it, right? I mean, who would have thought Entrepreneur Magazine, award-winning company, sit up in the middle of nowhere? It is freaking awesome. So that's the 5 components of doing that. And so now I'm going to kind of get into more into a lot of the accountability. Okay, so that again, those five pieces are what makes up your vision statement, your group leadership philosophy, and don't underestimate the power of that group leadership philosophy. That's a big, big, big deal. And then, of course, the visualization of your vision statement. Okay, so that kind of wraps all that up. And I know I've been covering a lot of ground here, and hopefully everybody's been taking notes, or if not, then we'll at least put the video back out and all that fun stuff. And so there are 2 other things that I want to kind of cover, and I'm going to cover these pretty quick. And these 2 don't really have anything to do with the vision statement. These are just best management practices when it comes to running an agency. Okay. And I would have given anything to have learned these a lot sooner, because these 2 things, these are basically physical acts. These 2 things can have the biggest impact on your agency overnight. Then, other than raising your prices 10 to 20% like today, of which I tell every fucking agency I've ever fucking met to do that, like immediately, because all of them underprice their shit. I don't know what that's about. All of them do. All of them do. I've never met one that doesn't. Okay. And immediately raise your price 10 to 20%. Here's what's going to happen. You'll lose 5% of your client base. Your revenue will go up by 15%. So you have less work and more money and higher profit. Duh. It's the assholes you didn't want in the first place, dude. The 5% you lost are the same assholes that bitch every month. You didn't want them in the first place, dude. You didn't want them. Get rid of them. Okay. So anyway, that's other than that piece of advice, these 2 right here will make the biggest impact on your agency out of everything. Okay. And one of them is going to be what's called rhythm. Okay. All right. To make it to the big dance, you got to have a little rhythm. Okay. And so company rhythm. From a leadership, Nick, this is a big, big deal for you. It might not seem like a big deal, but this is a big deal for anybody who's in that 8 to 15 employee range. This is a big deal. So company rhythm. And what exactly does that mean? What you do is, as a leadership team or as a leader, you establish an accountability rhythm. So let me explain what that means. Every single day, the project management department had a meeting at the end of the day. There were 6 project managers in my agency, and then they had a chief operating officer. So every single day, those 6 project managers at 4:30 would have a 30-minute accountability meeting with the COO. Okay, so they would come in there and explain what happened that day with the projects. Anything get out of whack, anything get out of line, anything we need to celebrate, whatever. It's kind of a quick tailgating set, a quick download. But every project manager got into the rhythm and the habit of knowing that they're going to have to present their shit that day at 4:30 every single day. And they better be, and there's no not talking in that meeting. They literally went line item by line item on every active project. We'd have anywhere between 150 to 200 active projects going every single month. Okay. And so they would go, what's going on this? What happened with this? What happened with this? What happened with this? And so there was no kind of just sitting in the back corner hoping you wouldn't get called out on. I mean, there was engagement on this thing, but it trained the project management staff to be on their P's and Q's on every single project, every single day. And they could, out the top of their head, recite exactly what was going on with every single project, every single day at any given time. Same thing happens with the engineering department. Every morning before they get started at at 8 o'clock or 8:30 in the morning, they're in the engineering department was the largest one. I think there were like 22 programmers in the programming department, right? And so they would meet every single morning with the vice president or the chief technical, whatever at the time is vice president of engineering programming. And every morning he would go through every single part. What's going on? Did you run into any bugs? Did you run into this testing? Cross browser, whatever the hell it was. And every single programmer would know exactly what project they're working on for that day, exactly what's expected of them that day. If they had any problems, he would know about it and get engaged or delegate somebody who's fixed that problem before over to delegate it. So we never ran into any service bottlenecks. We never ran into not never, but we rarely ran into quality issues because we were on top of it before it ever became an issue. You never let anything fester. Accountability for the leadership team. Every Thursday at 9 o'clock, they had to present this to me. Okay, not just to me, to the entire leadership team. Right. And so this is confidential. I can't actually show you into the numbers, but trust me, this is, P&Ls and lead sourcing and business development updates and, payroll breakdown by departments, payroll leadership teams, you name it. I mean, residual incomes, mailbox money, every fucking KPI that you can fathom is in here. And I got this presented to me every single Thursday at 9 o'clock. And so the chief operating officer had two people in the office that would come in. They'd spend 6 to 8 hours a week, I think I don't know, maybe 4 to 6 hours a week, just compiling that report. But they knew they had to do it. They were accountable for that. And they knew that I was going to be looking at these numbers with a microscope. So they knew all week long before they got to it that I'm going to be 3 feet up their ass if anything spikes or drops or does anything wrong. Just holding them accountable. So establish a company rhythm for all of your primary departments, your leadership team. Okay, just basically anything that has to be held accountable consistently. And I don't care if you get into the damn meeting and you stare at each other for 30 minutes. The point is you're establishing a precedent that they have got to be prepared at that time, no matter what, every single day or every single week. That is the importance of the rhythm. Not actually what you talk about in the meetings. Of course, if you're smart, you'll have a formalized agenda for every single meeting, and you'll go through it, and you'll dictate everything that happens in that meeting, right? But it's the actual rhythm that keeps everybody in check. They know that Nick is going to be looking at their ads every day at 4:30 or whatever the hell, does that make sense or whatever it is, right? And then they it's like the Pavlov effect. They push the button, they get a treat, right? It's the exact same thing. So you got to train them to be accountable every single day or every single week or every single month. Okay. Now, the next one is what's called your planning. This one's hard. How the hell do you plan for an agency that's shifting constantly, right? Okay. And so there's a thing called SWOTs plus SMARTs. And most of you probably heard of SWOTs. Okay. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. Most of you probably heard of that. Okay. Now, a lot of you might not have heard of the next one. It's called SMARTs. Okay. Strategic, measurable, accountable, relative, and time bound. Okay, it's testing my memory there, man. It's been a while since I've done like I guess anyway. And so what it is you have the SWOTs, and so you go through this exercise, and you do this every year. So the leadership team would, like, I think the last time I was there, we went to Cancun for a week. Okay, and I don't know where they went. I think they went to some exotic beach in 2017, but I wasn't. I'd sold the company, so I wasn't there. And so the leadership team would take, like, as a smaller agency, you'd probably just take a couple of days. So go up in the mountains or go to a ski lodge or something like that. But get out of the office. Make sure you get out of the office, because if not, the damn phones are going to be hitting. People are going to be knocking on the door. You cannot focus on strategic planning if you're in that office, because that office is war zone. That's when shit's going down. That's when the phones are ringing. That's when stuff's going down. So you go and you actually go through the SWOT process: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. You have a whiteboard with sticky notes, and you write down all the strengths, you write down the weaknesses, you write down the opportunities, and write down all the threats, and then you narrow those down into the top 3 or 4 pain points that can be solved in the next quarter, or sometimes longer, in the next year. Okay. And then you create a SMART for each pain point. Okay. And again, it's a form. It's called a SMART form. And you literally fill out, is it strategic? In other words, does it help us accomplish our mission and serve our purpose? Basically, right? Is it relative? In other words, does it matter? I mean, why is this important, right? Why is it relative? Is it attainable? Right? And can it even be done? Okay. Responsible. I think I can't remember how to go through the help anyway, but who's actually owns this thing? Who's in charge of making sure this thing gets done? And then time bound. How long is it going to take to actually do this thing? Is it 30 days, 90 days, or a year? Okay. And so then you actually delegate that smart to whomever it is. And typically this is at a leadership level. So you'll delegate it to, if it's programming, get quality assurance up and the specific things that you have to do, or get a go live checklist, before. So that way somebody other than the person working on the project has to come in, go through this go live checklist on every Facebook ad and campaign that goes out before it can go live, just to make sure that quality goes through the roof. Everybody knows if you push something to crap in, crap out, right? So if you push it out, it's gonna blow up in your face, right? So have that extra accountability in there. And again, this is just hypothetical. So what they do is they go back, and for the next month, they create this quality assurance checklist before go live, or whatever it might be, and they have to present that back, and they bring it back and they have to present that to the entire leadership team. Here's what I came up with. And they don't have to, if they go do it and they get stuck, they can bring it back to the leadership. And in the leadership team meeting, this is another one of those rhythm things. Every single week, you need to have a leadership team meeting. Okay. And so what happens is they get in there and they're like, hey, man, I'm stuck on this. I need some help. Okay, cool. Bring in this person, bring in that person, go do this, do that. Because every single week in the leadership team meeting, we'd get a SMART update. We had what's called SMART updates. We had KPI updates. Okay. Just kind of stated what it was called a State of the Union, finance and legal State of the Union. It's typically done by me, until a certain point. And then my CEO, when I put in the CEO position, did it. But so, like, where are we? Are there any legal hurdles? Are there any public relations issues? Are there any, finance issues or anything we need to worry about? And then, so there's an agenda leadership team. And one of those is like SMART update. I need an update on the SMARTs. Okay. And so again, I think everybody can kind of see the power of simply putting in a company rhythm. I mean, how simple is that? But it will hold everyone accountable. And then if you can get a strategic planning process in place with the smarts, okay, now all of a sudden you're actually, or back to the point a while ago you were saying, Nick, work on your business, not in your business. SWOT plus SMART is how you work on it, not in it. That is the formal process of how you physically manifest working on your business. Everybody says it, and you're like, how the fuck do I do that, man? What the hell does that mean, dude? I mean, I got bills to pay. You know what I mean? Like, what the, what the hell does that mean? What the hell does that mean? Well, this is what this means. SWOT plus SMART. Okay. And so you strength, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. You get all the leaders in there and you tell them, our strengths are that we are a close knit group, wonderful leadership. Our weaknesses are that we don't have enough bandwidth, we don't have enough leads, or all of our leads come from one source, and God forbid that lead source dries up. You're talking about a kiss of death, man. That almost happened to me one time. I had 2 lead sources, and one of them accounted for like 60% of the leads that came into my agency, and they went bankrupt. I was like, fuck, this is no bueno. This is no bueno. So I had to figure something out pretty quick. So, and anyway, and so just if you can get that company rhythm and that strategic planning process in place, it can really be a game changer for you. And I'm just going to kind of wrap it up there. And then, so any questions, Nick? Balls? What's up?
Man, I just want to say how much all those points are like speaking directly to me. We're really trying to work on more systemization. The rhythm was a very, very hit on the nerve. We've recently started doing some things very similar to that every day, but every week. But we had nothing like that before because it was very much like, hey, let's just get it done. Let's have fun, blah, blah, whatever. But then we're like, we're staying in the same spot. It's been a week. It's been a week and a day. It's been 4 days.
Okay, well, never mind. It hadn't even been a week. Okay, give it a month. We
saw a difference in 4 days, man. I'm serious. I swear to God, it was last Wednesday. It was unbelievable.
And everybody knows, okay, damn, man, coming in, and they don't want to. And here's the thing that happens is it's peer review. I'm going to tell a quick story. So, like this shit was funny. So I am a sales business development CEO guy. I'm a bull in a china shop guy. Well, programmers by default can't stand a guy like me. They got no respect for guys. They don't like sales guys. They don't like business development guys. They don't like us. Philosophically, fundamentally, do not like us. We make promises that we write checks that their ass has to cash, and they don't like it at all. Like at all, right? Yep. So I had a serious employee morale issue in the programming department. We were tiny. We were about 8 people. We're about your size, Nick. maybe 10 people, whatever, somewhere around that number. And so, man, the engineers, I would ask them to do something like that. They're basically like, fuck it. I mean, like, we don't like this guy in the first place. So I'm like, damn, dude. I mean, like, dude, I'm paying your paychecks. I'm out there working my fingers to the bone. I mean, what do I got to do? I mean, it takes both sides. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, it's it takes both sides. You got to have sales. So where's the disconnect? So I started reading up on it like that. And next thing you know is come to find out there's nothing that scares the shit out of a programmer more than having another programmer look at his code and say it sucks.
I like it.
The God's honest truth. So here's what I did. We had all the desks set up to where everybody kind of had privacy. So the desk, it was one big room, and the desks were staring at each other, but nobody could see anybody else's monitors. So one night I took all the desks and I pushed them into the wall to where their monitors were facing the center of the room. And anybody at any point in time could turn around and see what the fuck you were doing on your monitor.
I love it.
Productivity went through the roof. Through the roof, I'm talking about. They were terrified that somebody might be overlooking their shoulder and they can't write bad code. They stopped thinking about me totally. They forgot about me. Forgot about me, which is awesome. Like crazy shit, right? So anyway, peer review, man. And so the reason I told that story is because in this meeting that'll be coming up again here in the next 4 days. So we got another 3 days before it pops up. Everybody that's going to be in that meeting is going to be like, damn, I don't want to let Nick down. And what's your partner's name?
Ben.
I bet you would die on the hill not to let that dude down. I don't want to let him down. You know what? I mean, he was, like you said, he was working that job, paying the bills whenever you didn't produce shit for 7 or 8 months. You know what I'm talking about? I mean, you were working, but you weren't bringing in sales.
Yep.
That's dedication. You know what I'm saying? And that earned your respect. Right?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
you got to come into that meeting whenever the hell it is, Thursday, Friday, Friday, I guess, or whatever Friday. And man, you don't want to let him down. You know what I'm talking about? And so, whatever it is you're responsible for, you're going to be on point, man. You're going to be on point. For no other reason that you just don't want to lose the respect of your peers. And that's what this rhythm does. Simple as
like it.
So.
Love it. That's awesome.
Good shit. All right, so whoever's still watching, if you're subscribed to the bot, you would have gotten a message to get access to the micro course on creating your agency vision. I don't know why the message says login. Hold on, let me edit that. Creating your agency vision. So if you're already on the chat bot, then you can go ahead and you should have gotten a message already with that information in the actual bot. If you're not subscribed, then when you subscribe, you're going to get a message with the PDF from the overall 9 steps, the PDF that we gave away for last week's video and the link to last week's video. And it'll also have a link there to access the micro course. I did try to go through the sign-up process, Lee, and it asked for like a text verification, and I never got past that, just so you know. I don't know if that's causing an issue for other people or will cause an issue for other people.
Yeah, no, I will figure that out. So I'll get that fixed.
So as long as you get your information, if you have any issues, just leave a comment or shoot an email, and we'll get it taken care of. But other than that, does anybody have any questions, or are we good for the night?
Hey, I want to say one thing. Like last week when we were talking about proposals, okay? Attendance was pretty good. Attendance was pretty good this week. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as good as last week. I mean, something about proposals, man. People love it. And the reality is this: leadership is. I don't know why, but people think they always have this one solved. I don't understand it. Like they always think that. So we need to change. I don't know what it is, man. I don't know what it is. And I preach it though, but I'm like, look, guys, you don't have it solved. Leadership is an ongoing thing. So we need to shame some people up in this group and say, look here, guys, y'all don't have it figured out. You know what I'm talking about? We need to put the shame. We need to put the scarlet letter on people. If you didn't show up for this, you're cocky. Period.
Yes. Hey,
straight up. You think your shit doesn't stink, and guys like Nick and Balls and me are going to about to lap your ass. It's that simple.
You know what's going to be the biggest one, Lee? I know proposals. Whenever we talk about sales, or if we're talking about sales in the 9 week, that's the one that everyone always wants to show up and talk about, But they're overlooking some of this other stuff because this type of shit and the why is what leads to the fucking sales. Like, that's the thing.
Man.
That's what I really wish I could tell everybody, how hard it was to get beat down every day for months and have no money. I survived by playing daily fantasy sports on DraftKings and FanDuel. I charged $2,000 to a credit card when I quit my job, and my cousin is a professional gambler. Was sort of, he had just started playing daily fantasy, so I was betting with him every night. If I lost, I would have to go get a job that next day if I didn't get a thing. So, like, all that stuff, the why is what kept me going. That's what I really wish I could share that with everybody. That's how you get the sales.
And it blows me away every single time. And by the way, I got a badass sales process. I mean, it's straight out badass. And so I don't know when that one's scheduled. I think it's a couple of weeks from now, like that. But man, it is rock star.
Wait, man, yeah, this is good stuff. We'll make sure to get more people on and watching it over the next couple of days as well, and continue to warm up here. But it's the vision thing, everyone, and myself included. And you know what? I'm actually like a personal development buff. Like, all I do is read books. I know all about vision statements. I do it for myself. I do them personally, but I have not extrapolated it out to the company. And we see it all the time. And for some reason, it's something I've even ignored. And I'm into this type of stuff. I don't even think it's like woo-woo-y or whatever, like some people do, or cheesy. Like, I love this stuff. So this is just another reminder. We had on like 2 weeks ago was saying the same thing, and I love it. It was perfect timing for me.
All right, well, cool, man. So, like I said, we need to put the scarlet letter on these people and say, straight up, we'll put it in the Facebook group like that. Look here, guys, if you didn't watch this one, okay, like that, you're cocky. You need to humble yourself, because this is the real world shit. This is how you build a sustainable, successful, and profitable agency. The shit that we talked about tonight is how it gets done. Period.
Couldn't agree more. Especially long term, man. So many people are so stuck with this. Let's make $5,000 a month or get 3 clients. And, those clients are going away, man. If you want to build something long term and not think this is the type of shit that matters. And I'm learning that, like, getting beat down every day with it. I'm in the zone, so I will fucking fully acknowledge it. I feel like you were talking to me tonight, so I love it, man.
Oh, man. All right, cool. All right, I'm gonna head out, grab me some dinner. I'm about to starve to death. So
got it.
All right, so I will hit you guys up in the group, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Okay.
Thanks, Lee.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks, boss.
All right, take care.
Yeah, guys. So, Nick, we should definitely probably later this week make a post and kind of reshare this video out, because I'm sure people are gonna lose it and all the stuff that's going on throughout the week. So yeah, we definitely got to go ahead and do that. But yeah, it's been great to have Leon. We're gonna have another few weeks with him, guys. So I believe there's gonna be 7 left. There's 7 left. So if you're not already subscribed to the bot, make sure you're on it, because all the shit we're giving away is gonna be in there. We're not gonna post links to it directly, so you just gotta get on our list, bitches.
And tomorrow we got Alex coming on board, and it's gonna be about sales. We'll make a post how to get sales without cold calling, without paying money for your own ads. I can't wait to talk to this guy. I've been following him for the last year. We need to make a promotion about that, Balls. Get him on, because this guy seems legit.
So let's sign off the live. Let's sign off the live for whoever is still watching. There's still like 3 people. All right, so those guys can go, and Nick will stay on, and we'll chat about that to set up for tomorrow. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow then.
Yeah.